Hey, good morning, folks. Well, here another month is gone. It's January 31st, and I think we've spent all we're going to spend this month. So I'm trying to get a jump start on the January expense report. You can see here on the spreadsheet in January we drove 40 miles. There's just two little RV parks here that we go back and forth between. These are all Encore parks, and we go between Country Sunshine down here in Wessico and then Tropic Winds up here in Harlingen. So we just go 3 weeks and then move to the other one 3 weeks and then back and then back. So it costs nothing. Let me show you, give you kind of a reference in the country where. Here's Texas and Mexican border, and we're right down in here. And if you look at the places you want to be in January, a little map that we've got a video out that shows the average temperatures for each month as it moves across the country. And here's January. So you can see you want to be right down in southern Texas, down in Florida, and generally it's got right in here in Arizona in the 70s. So that's where we're at, right down there in that little sweet spot. And next year we're going to try this area here down in South Florida. So anyway, back to the spreadsheet. We're bouncing back and forth between those two RV parks, about 15 or 20 miles apart. We've moved twice. We started out in Country Sunshine, went to Tropic Winds, now we're back to Country Sunshine. So that gives us 31 days in Thousand Trails parks. Zero expense. They don't charge for 50 amp upgrades here, so we have zero expense. And I promise several of you have asked about the Thousand Trails, so I'm going to spend about 5 minutes here explaining some basics of it. And if you're not interested in Thousand Trails, just skip forward. I'll do a little screen splash on there so you'll know where to stop and we're done talking about Thousand Trails. But in a nutshell, Thousand Trails properties, if you're going full time, they've got zone passes and stuff that are $500 and stuff like that. But if you're going full time, which is the audience that I'm trying to reach, for us it works great, and we just highly recommend this Elite Pass, it's called. And buying an Elite membership, I think new, they're, depending on what all you get put in it, but anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000. They're pretty expensive. And some of the older memberships had some screwy stuff in it, and people, the salesman kind of took advantage of people buying them. So you got to be a little bit cautious. There are some pitfalls out there. And we purchased ours through a company called, right here, Campground Membership Outlet. And they did us right. They did exactly what they're supposed to do, and they explained it all. Pointed out the pitfalls, got us a good membership to purchase. You email them or call them. You call them, I think, and they'll email you a list of what they've got and the prices, and you kind of pick out what it is you want to know about, and you can email them back or call them back and have them explain it to you. And point being, they cost new $6,000 to $12,000. Buying the used one, it's $3,000 to we paid $4,000 for ours. It's kind of the high end. They may be some of them a little more than that, but that's what we paid. And it's just as good as the new one. There's a few things like our kids can't inherit it and stuff, and there's some of the places, some cabins we can't rent that the first owners could do. So the first owner gets a few benefits that the second or third owner doesn't get. But we would recommend going to this company here, Campground Membership Outlet. And here's the big one, this RV Love. I'm guessing a lot of you already know about them. They have YouTube videos and a lot of educational videos. They did back in January of 2015. They did just an awesome review. That's when they purchased their Thousand Trails membership, and it's got better facts in there than you'll get from Thousand Trails or from anywhere else. This is kind of the Bible, I think, and most people think, for information on buying one of these. So rvlove.com, and you'll find their Thousand Trails article, and I'll put a link down in the comments section here. Read through that, and you'll a lot of questions you don't even know to ask. It'll give you those questions. So buy it through campground membership. How it works: once you have it, we bought it for $4,000. Our due's $600 a year every year. After 2 years, you can put your membership on hold, and then you don't pay anything. If it stays on hold for 5 years, then it just canceled. Or if you renew it within 5 years, you can start it back up. Some of the old ones you had to pay forever till you died. There's just no way out of it. You had to pay annual dues forever. But they've eliminated some of those things. Campground membership, that's one of the questions you'll ask them. So we purchase ours. That's why we don't include the purchase price in our expenses, just like we don't include the price of the motorhome or the car or something in our expenses. Those was paid cash for. They're gone. In our expense report, we just have our monthly expenses, and those are not involved. We do the annual dues, and that costs us $51 a month we allocate for each month. You can stay with this membership. You can stay from 1 to 21 days in any of the 81 Thousand Trails campground. The campgrounds are located, I'll put you a map up there, but they're located on the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest, all the way down the coast, a bunch in Texas, and then up the East Coast. There's virtually none in the middle of the country. So if those are places you want to be near, that's good. If you're wanting to visit in the middle of the country, then Thousand Trails doesn't work for you. But if you want to be on the coast of the country or down in Texas, it works good. And then probably a big thing you hear about is, they may say resorts on Thousand Trails a lot, but they're not resorts. They are preserves, Thousand Trails preserves. And their maintenance maybe is lacking at some of the RV spots. The hot tubs sometimes are turned off, or the laundry machines half of them be broke and out of service. Different odds and ends like that. We don't use those things. We go to our campsite. We have a 42-foot Class A motorhome. We've had no trouble finding a spot big enough for us. There's usually hiking trails. Oh, and a lot of them on the West Coast the roads are not paved. They're dirt and gravel. And so sometimes it'll get dusty. They have a 5-mile-an-hour speed limit, and most people follow that. But you do collect a little bit of dust. But you're usually in the trees, a nice area. Some of them are right on the ocean. So you need to look around and make sure that it's a campground that you want to be in. I've heard on the East Coast they're nicer than on the West Coast. We don't know if that's true yet. We'll know by next January. On the West Coast, a number of the campgrounds only had sewer hookups in maybe 25% of their sites. So you'd get water and electric. And sewer, we can last a week. If it's more than a week, you'd need to go dumps, either with a little caddy that some people have. We don't have a way to have one of those, so we unhook and we drive to the dump station. We only did that once or twice maybe. If we don't find a campsite with sewer when we first get there, we go ahead and set up camp, but then every day we walk around. Every RV has a sticker on its site saying when they're going to leave, and you get a map that explains which ones have sites and which ones have 30 amps and 50 amps. So you walk around and you find one that's got sewer and somebody's going to leave in a day or two. Talk to them, find out when they're leaving, and tell them you'd like to move into their site when they leave. And if they haven't promised to anybody else, you can kind of, through you and that person, make arrangements for you to get their site when they leave. So we've always found within a day or two, almost always found full hookup sites. We like to stay in the places we go to the full 3 weeks. We like to get to an area and just kind of sit back and relax and call it home. And by the time 3 weeks is up, we're ready to move on. But we kind of enjoy staying the whole 3 weeks, learning what's in the area and just getting set up and relaxing. So that's Thousand Trails. You can do it. You could go all year long without spending a penny for campsite fees other than your annual dues. Literally, the zone passes, you can only stay 2 weeks at a time, and you only get 40 or 50 nights a year, I think, and then it's $5 or something for each night after that. But if you get an elite package, a resale elite package, you can camp for free. And then ours, they told us when we're done, ours should have a value left in it to be able to sell it for a couple $1,000s. So we bought it for $4. Theoretically, we'll get $2 when we resell it. So that's Thousand Trails in a nutshell. Read that article from RV Love and give the campground resale thing a call. So back to our spreadsheet. Oh, we spent 304 nights in Thousand Trails campsites from June to June, the year that we've been full-timing, and we spent 57 nights outside of Thousand Trails. So for those 304 nights that we spent in Thousand Trails at an average price of $30, which is a pretty conservative, reasonable figure, that's over $9,000 that we would have spent on campsites. We paid $4,000 to buy our membership plus 600 dues, $4,600. So we're over $4,000 ahead of the game. It for a full-time RVer that can live, that wants to be in the areas that Thousand Trails are at and doesn't need a nice big fancy resort. It's just a great idea. Okay, so looking down here at we spent $0 on fuel. Campsites we spent $51. That's just our dues, our month, $607. And for the year, we've averaged $215 a month for our campsite fees. Total $2,500 we spent. For diesel, we've driven 9,000 miles in the year. Let me explain. This here is our projected. We know exactly where we're going to be for the next, up until June. So we know the route we're going to take, how many miles we're going to drive, how many times we'll move, and how many sites are in Thousand Trails. So we went ahead and penciled these in. Fuel, we spent for a total of $4,000. We're averaging $330 a month for diesel. Campsites, whenever we've upgraded for electricity or had to go outside of Thousand Trails, and plus our Thousand Trails dues, $2,500 we spent for $215. Our average for the year is $7 for campsites, and our average for the year is $11 for diesel fuel a day. $11 a day for diesel fuel, $7 a day for campsites. Motorhome repairs, we had tropic winds. Most of Thousand Trails you put in a code, but at tropic winds you get either you push a button and somebody raises it for you when they hear the button and come to the desk, so it takes a few minutes, or you can buy like a garage door opener that'll automatically open it, and that costs you $15 and you get $10 back when you return it. So we spent $15 on that remote control gate. We put a new filter for our under sink water. We have a filter that we hook up to the hydrant. We have a filter when it first comes into the coach, and then we have some kind of it takes away some biological stuff for our under sink. Everything else filters all the water. That filter just filters the drinking water there at the sink that we use for cooking and coffee and stuff. So that was our repairs. Car gas, $32. Our insurance, we spend $1,200 a year for RV insurance and $900, I think it is, for car insurance. So we just divide those numbers by 12, and that's what that is. Groceries, liquor, cleaning, and paper supplies. That's $810. We're averaging right at that $850 or so, and so that's just everything we buy at the grocery store goes in there, and liquor store. And out of the $810, probably $150 or $200 is wine and liquor, and dining out, we spent $122. We budget about $250, so we had a little bit of extra room there. Internet and cell phone, we have two iPhones and then a jetpack, and all three of those units get 15 gigabytes of high-speed internet for a total of 45 gigabytes, and then they go to that slow speed after you hit your limit. And to upload one of the last videos, it takes like a day and a half to upload a 20-minute video with the slow internet after we've used our data up. So I bought a week's worth of data at the last part for $15, and so that added a little bit of expense. Directv, what do we got on there? Oh, we rented American Made. Yeah, I kind of like that movie. We rented that, and then our regular Directv package. Medical, January is the first month. Let's see what we got here. We have, for our Part A and B, we both pay $104 each for our Medicare. And we both pay $17 each for our Part D Medicare. That's prescription drugs. And then we just started our Medigap Insurance. And Pearl cost her $109 a month, and mine's $116. We bought the Part G, not F, but G, and anything that Medicare covers, this will pay the deductible and the copay, and so it's good anywhere in the country, and it fills in the gaps, Medigap for Medicare. And mainly we bought it in case either one of us got a serious illness, and for a big hospital stay is what we're insured for. And it's kind of expensive, but this is the first month that's kicked in, so we have that going forward. Pet care, we had to get the dog groomed, and that's it. It's kind of expensive. Usually that's about $40. Recreation and hobbies. So I went to Gladys Porter Zoo. You may have saw the video we did of Pearl feeding the turtles. And then we had to upgrade our iCloud storage. Pictures kind of filled it up, so we went up to $3 a month for a little more cloud. Computer hardware. Oh, our video editing program, we use Power Director 15. We upgraded to Power Director 16. Power Director 15 cost $80. I've got that question a lot. What video editing software do we use? That's it, and upgraded to the next version just because it has some new tools and stuff. It was $40, probably wasn't $45, probably wasn't worth it. Clothing, we used a laundromat. We had to wash the bedspread and a couple odds and ends, and that's about it. So here's our monthly, and then like I told you before, these are numbers that we're pretty comfortable with, that we're estimating for the next 4 months, and here's our annual average and annual totals. So I'm going to kick into some totals here, see what we can see. So the route we're on, we're looking to spend $40,000 in the year. We've read starting out 35 to 45, 50. Those are numbers that we hear a lot of times. A lot of times we hear 3,000 and even below that. And so last month we did a little comparison, so we're going to stick that on here. So here I did a frugal budget. It's the same thing as our full budget, but I'm taking out items that potentially you could save on. You could cut out completely or partially. So we traveled 9,000 miles in January for the year. This is all annual. We traveled 9,000 miles for the year. If you cut that in half and just change it however you think you would fit, but for our purposes, we took half of that out, which would mean you could only drive, if you could drive 4,500 miles or less, you could take out $2,000. On your campsite fees, almost $2,600 is what we spent. Take all that out, but your $600 dues, you could take almost $2,000 out. Now, motorhome repairs, auto gas, auto insurance, groceries. I left all that just like we had it. Some of it, you groceries and stuff. If you don't drink, you could take out 100, 200 bucks probably. But I left all those in for this purposes. Dining out, if you didn't go dine out any and just cooked at home, 2,700 bucks you could save. Internet and cell phone, I think everybody's going to have some internet. I left that in there. Directv, eliminate any kind of Directv or Dish Network and just use over the air or Netflix or any of that stuff. Medical, I left that in. Everybody's different, but we've got $4,000 in there for the year. Ours is going to go up another $2,000 next year, because this year it only has 5 months of our Medicaid supplemental insurance, and in 2018 it'll have 12 months. So ours will go up to $6,000 for next year. But anyway, I left $4,000 in there. You may want to take that up or down compared to your situation. If you don't have to groom your dog or don't have any expensive dog food and all that stuff, we buy at the grocery store, so it just gets added into our food. But there is, on our grocery bill, that's another reason why it's so high. We're feeding a dog and a cat. Recreational hobbies, take all that out. Make your hobbies just, free stuff you can go do. There's a lot of free stuff, a lot of places you can go and do that don't cost nothing. So take that out or adjust it where you want to adjust it to. In ours, I bought it in that number is a $1,500 drone, is a $300 or $400 iPad, is $300 I spent to study for my drone license and taking the drone test. So a lot of stuff in there that most people could take out. But hobbies and leisures, adjust that as you want to. Oh no, the iPad was in here. This $1,200 iPad and memory and whatever we spend on computer. Take all. I took it all out, but take out what you think's appropriate. Clothes, take all that out. We've got budgeted for the next 4 months $60. Pearl likes to buy some odds and ends, but we probably won't spend all of that. And then mails, take that out. So of all this, taking out all I feel that we could take out if we just had to, if something happened and we just had to cut our budget, we feel we could theoretically go down to $25,000. So somewhere between $25,000 and $40,000, that's where you're at. That's where we're at. It has nothing to do with you. That's just information that you can use to kind of help make your budget. And that's for 12 months. 4 months is proposed, and 8 months is actual. So I hope that helps. I want to thank a lot of you guys. We went over 1,000 subscribers last night. The last couple of weeks if you haven't seen our video about an exit strategy, if you're thinking about trying this lifestyle, I'll put it up here, a little link. You can just click on it. I would recommend watching that video. In like 2 days, it's got like 8,000 views. It's just a ton of people that's watched it, and a large portion of them have commented that they got useful information and enjoyed watching it. That's about it. So I just want to tell you guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate you subscribing. We appreciate the thumbs up, and we love reading the comments. So keep the wheels rolling, and we'll see you down the road. Bye-bye.